As a lawyer, there is sometimes a very good correlation between law and politics, because from political decisions determines many things about us. For example, just the price of unga or the price of fuel, healthcare, whatever. It's political decisions that make it. So I get disappointed when people say that, oh, politics is dirty. Politics can never be dirty, because it's from political decisions that actually you can either live your life comfortably, like right now. We know that in Kenya, in April, electricity prices will go up by, I don't know, is it 48 or 40%? That's because somebody somewhere has made a political decision. The question of food security today, the prices of commodities and all that, is actually being determined by political decisions. So I was inspired by people like Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, when they challenge the status quo. Because again, like I say, you can see that relationship between if a political system oppresses the other side of the society, it becomes a question of injustice for me, and which is where now I infuse the legal approach to it. That it's not fair, it's not legal what you're doing to another human being. So, in the context of Kenya, when I wasn't really very interested in politics until I realized political decisions actually determine how I live in a country, or even how I relate. You know, I mean, I'm intermarried. My wife is from Nyeri. We have 2 children who are called Tukuyus, Turkana Kikuyus, because they can't speak either Turkana, can't speak Kikuyu, they only speak English and Kiswahili. Now, if you look at the way our politics is run in Kenya, it's embedded so much on the negative ethnicity and tribalism. I mean, I didn't write a letter to Sir God to tell God, let me be born a Turkana. Neither did you write a letter to God to say, let me be born a Kikuyu. But when politicians now use tribe negatively, it annoys someone like me, because here I am, out of my social interaction, met a beautiful woman from Nyeri, got married, we have children. So why should anybody look at her as Kikuyu or look at me as Turkana? So partly I got involved in politics because I want to correct those societal wrongs. I want to shatter those myths. And this is what drove me into starting my own political party, the Third Way Alliance Kenya. Because I also reflected on our history as a country, where at independence, we have people like the Mau Mau, the Dedan Kimadis and the rest, who actually fought for the freedoms that we have today against colonialism. But somewhere along the way, I believe they were betrayed. So the people who took over the reins of government leadership, all of a sudden, for example, in central Kenya, and I know this is a very unpopular example to use, the same people actually, you see, the agitation for our independence as a country started on the question of land. And therefore, we're talking about central Kenya. But as soon as people from central Kenya took over the reins of leadership, they started displacing their own people. That's how you find Kikuyus in Mpeketoni, in Molo, and all the problems that are associated with it today. So, for me, I feel that the first liberation struggle in this country was betrayed. Then came the second liberation, which is the agitation for multi-party democracy, right from early 90s up to when we had, the new constitution in Kenya, multi-party democracy and all that. But again, the same people who talk about multi-party democracy, once they get into government, they become bedfellows with the same. So then nothing changed. So after the new constitution, and because I was involved in the writing of the new constitution in 2010 as the CEO of the committee of experts, I felt that Kenya was in the cusp of renewal, and we were agitating towards a third liberation. And this third liberation requires transformative leadership, a leadership that will truly live to the aspirations of what Kenyans have said they want in the new constitution. For example, right from just Article 1, that says that all sovereign authority vests in the people of Kenya. Meaning, any political leader out there must see himself or herself as a servant, as serving the people of Kenya. And you see, one of the geniuses of our constitution is actually chapter 6, what they call leadership and integrity chapter, because Kenyans were saying we want a certain type and character of a leader. But unfortunately, you don't see that manifesting when people go into leadership, when people form government. Kenyan leadership, political leadership has been commercialized. That's why you see once one gets into politics, within a short time, that person has become super rich at the expense of the constituents. Money has become a factor in our politics. I don't believe in that, because I would like to see this country equalize. So that if I come from, say, Kapedo, and you come from Gatundu, all of us should enjoy services in equal measure. And that's what can actually make us Kenyans and build a nation state. Otherwise, today as we speak, I think we are just a conglomeration of ethnic identities. We are just the 44 tribes of Kenya pretend to be a nation, but we are not. Because nationhood has to have some level of common good that cascades to every part and region of the country. The ideology behind Punguza Mizigo is very simple, actually. It's based on the fact that what really is our priority as a country? Do we need a large government? So the idea is to reduce the cost of governance. But more specifically, we propose what we call the World Development Fund. And the World Development Fund was going to be a unit of accelerating development in each and every part of the Republic. And it was flowing from Article 6 of our Constitution, which is about devolved government. And the idea that every Kenyan must be able to access services at their very, very doorsteps. So that was the whole idea. But most importantly also, we wanted to put a value. What is the value of our representation today? Which is why, one of the things that was very popular about that bill is the fact that we reduced the number of our representatives. And we did a comparative study. For example, people say America is one of the oldest democracies in the world, progressive and all that. Americans are 350 million plus people, but they only have 530 representatives for both Congress and House of Reps. India, again, one of the other oldest democracies in the world, has about 1.3 billion people, but they only have about 800 representatives for both houses of Congress, because they are also bicameral. China, where we are borrowing a lot of money from for development and all that, about another 1.4 billion people, but they only have 1,200 representatives. Now, you come to a country like Kenya, where we are struggling even today with basic things like food. We are about 55 million, give and take. But we have got 416 representatives. So on average, it's like one person in America represents about 625,000 people. In India, they represent about 1.6. But in Kenya, we found that we are over 400% overrepresented. And it comes with a cost. So you have got 416 people who take home about 42 point something billion annually. Now we try to do comparison with, say, a county like, say, Nairobi. So you have got 416 people as representatives. They take home 42 point something billion. Then you have a county like Nairobi with about 5 million or 6 million people. They're only given 12 billion annually. And that is for development. We have to make sure there is water, there is electricity, there is security, garbage collection, and all those things. So we felt, no, this cost of us governing ourselves is not worth it. And that's how we came up with the idea of Punguza Mizigo. I mean, there are many, many other proposals on it, including how do we simplify just our election? Why is our election the most expensive in the world? I mean, we We spend billions of Kenya shillings securing gadgets like the BVR kits from France. They don't use them in France. So in France, if you want to run for public office, they just go pick a A4 paper, fill in your names, people tick, and you're good to go. People ask me every day to reintroduce it. But I've been a bit cautious about rushing to introduce it because I want Kenyans to actually have a reflection, introspection, and say, okay, do we actually want this project and will we support it? Because see, last time what happened with this project, the project didn't really fail in my view because one, it had the backing of 1.2 million Kenyans, which is a constitutional threshold. But it was also the people's representatives, the MCAs, who were bribed, and everybody now knows they were given on average 250,000 or 200 by the then regime, particularly Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, because they were promoting what is called BBI, the Building Bridges Initiative, and therefore they were seeing Punguza Mizigo as stealing the political thunder from them. And that's part of the reason why it takes me to another different angle. Is that, okay, who really is the enemy of the people of Kenya? I think it's the political leadership in this country. It's the government of the day. Because a day, for example, looked at Punguza Mizigo and what we are proposing, they will know it's of greater benefit even to their own people. Because, for example, imagine the idea of just ward development fund, services coming to your very, very doorstep. Yeah? In whatever. So whether you're a leader today or tomorrow, you probably, we are, as Africans, we like to go back to our villages, we like to go back to our home counties, home districts and all that. And for me, the idea of Punguza Mizigo was, let's make every part of the country comfortable for everyone. And so when these people just saw it as a political idea, and because you see, part of the problem we have in Kenya is that there are people who have some sense of entitlement, that if it is not them who will initiate an idea, nobody else should initiate an idea. And therefore, I think at some point they were thinking, who is this Turkana boy coming up with this brilliant idea? And surprisingly, up to now, there are people even from within that camp, now that they failed to secure leadership, they are telling me, Ekuru, we wish we had listened to you. But I was telling them, it wasn't about me. They forget one thing. Some of us, or myself particularly, I'm a trained lawyer, and that's what feeds me. I do my legal work, and that's how I put food on the table. That's how I meet my obligation. So politics will never feed me. Plus, if I'm to go into politics, I will only go into politics because I want to serve and make Kenya a better country. Political jobs, opportunities actually don't build anyone. As a matter of fact, if you don't do the right thing, when you're in a political position, you actually destroy yourself. Look at how many people, for example, be held political offices, but are associated with corruption, basically what I call theft of public money, because there's nothing called corruption in our mother tongues. Yeah? Kama ni mwizi, you know, pesa kama imepotea umeiba. If you cannot account for money, you have stolen. Yeah? Let's not sanitize it, we call it corruption. What is corruption? To be honest, even if I were to ask you today, in your Kikuyu mother tongue, what is corruption? But if you say somebody mwizi, you can relate. Yeah? I can relate to that. You said you're going to build us a bridge. Tumekupatia pesa. But you're not able to show that money. Where is that money? You're a thief. You've stolen. So if you just call it what it is. And that's why you'll find many people who go into political offices in this country with the sole idea of enriching themselves. Yeah? They get haunted eventually because, politics is about leadership. It's about service to society, to community. So if you don't do that, you're not worth a leader. there is a lot of posturing, a lot of manipulation. I can also read the mood that it's more about 2027 now. I think they are more interested in re-election in 2027 than actually delivering. In fact, it's making me question whether actually even this Kenya Kwanza government even had a plan. I don't think they had a plan, because as soon as they took over, taxes were introduced. Now, even for me to send you M-Pesa, I have to pay some excise duty. Electricity cost is going to go up. A lot of things. I mean, mortgage, if you're paying mortgage like some of us are doing, it has already gone up. We used to enjoy it like 13 point something percent. Now it's gone to 14.5%. So life is unbearable. We've also seen, for example, the famine and drought situation in the country, and it really isn't improving. And I mean, if you listen to the requests from folks in the villages, people asking for basic things, pesa, hospital bills, education, food, and all those. So things aren't really getting better. But as I keep saying, we'll give this government the benefit of doubt, but it has to be a very reasonable time frame within which we have to begin to point out their mistakes. And I don't care whether I supported this government or not supported it. It's the government of the day, and we have expectation. My plans are very simple, that I hope I can really be able to bring together a critical mass of Kenyans who can look at issues. We discuss issues, not the kind of thing I'm seeing right now from the Azimio orphans, where all they are thinking about is, oh, let's push William Ruto out of government and all that. That's rubbish. This man was declared winner. His election was challenged in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court pronounced him, confirmed him. He was sworn in publicly. We know it. So this idea of saying that we will push this government to resign, unless they are failing. I mean, I would like to be able to see a conversation around real issues in the country. For example, how do we ensure there is food security to each and every part of this republic? How do we ensure, I come from Kapedo, and in Kapedo, all we hear, cattle rustling. Again, there's really nothing called cattle rustling. In law, that's robbery with violence. If today I nyanganya you mulika mwizi on the streets of Nairobi violently, I'll be arrested and I'll be charged with robbery with violence or attempted robbery. Yeah? And even maybe malicious damage to property or assault. So why is it that when you come to take away my cow in my kraal, on the barrel of a gun, we're calling it cattle rustling? Yet it's robbery. The Constitution of Kenya describes property as that which belongs to you in Article 45 of the Constitution. So my cow is my property. So you come and take it forcefully, using a gun and violently, and you're not charging me with robbery with violence. You're probably even assaulted, you have caused murder, manslaughter, you have damaged property. So I'm just hoping that we can begin to have a serious conversation on real issues in this country. And that's my intention with Third Way. There's one thing that I'm very passionate about, because I do believe Kenya is a very rich country, rich nation. Every county in this country has an economic opportunity that can transform those countries. So one, I'll focus on exploiting economic opportunity in all the 47 counties of Kenya. Okay? There's a big opportunity for everyone. Look, for example, I'll just give you an example. Turkana, where I come from, we have got the largest desert lake in the world. We have not exploited it. We have not even advertised to say that this is the cradle of humankind. So we have a coastline of 540 kilometers, because the Turkana is 270 kilometers long and 50 kilometers wide. So if you look at that coastline, 540, not a single tourism expedition happens there. Number two, I will end theft of public money. For me, people have to go to jail. Because when people steal money meant for health, education, you're actually destroying a generation. I consider you as a mass murderer, actually. Because when you steal money for health, for medicine, you have denied how many people medicine, blood transfusion, bed, whatever. So, if I fix those two things, the economy of this country will. Because I know Kenya has a very well trained, educated populace. And it's just the fact that government has not really facilitated an enabling environment, even for investors. I mean, I give advice on international consultants, and they'll tell you point blank, your country is beautiful, it has all the opportunity. Unfortunately, corruption in government and outside government is actually killing every opportunity. We had the opportunity to assemble Volkswagen in this country. But because some greedy government minister wanted, I think 30 or 40%, they moved to Ethiopia. We had an opportunity to build what is called the Mara Funds, inspired by the fact that Mara is one of the 7 wonders of the world. I mean, you see tourists come here every July to September to just see the migration. And this guy's investor came with an idea of the Mara Fund, which was going to sell globally. But because some greedy government officer wanted 50%, they went to Rwanda. And many other opportunities. Oil was discovered in Turkana. You will think the Northern Frontier District has nothing. Oil was discovered in Turkana. Why are we not even localized? Do a local refinery. Yet we run to countries like, say, the United States of America. We say, oh, Texas is the oil capital of the USA. But because they have localized, they have built that economy. Today, we can finish Tiomin in Kwale, and Kwale can become the capital county of Tiomin mining. There is a lot of gold from Migori, Kakamega, Nandi, all that route. And many others. I can give you many opportunities. Mui region in Kitui, Kitui County, can actually be the coal capital of Kenya. So the opportunities are there, but we have got a very lackluster, fakeless, mediocre leadership in this country. And all they care is just about self-preservation.